Transitioning from High School to University, Independence and Advocacy. Presenter, Michelle Wolfery, 2014 CNIB Braille Conference.
Any other questions? Nope. Okay, so we are going to look at my accommodation letter. I think it's kind of small, so I'm not sure how easy it is to read. A lot of these accommodations that I have, like I was saying, I don't really use. But the big ones that I use are the extra time. So 60 minutes per hour, so it's double time. I don't use a reader, I don't use a scribe. Supervised breaks, because those exam times can be so long, we put in a 5-minute break every hour. So I can get up, I can stretch my legs, different things like that. Word processing with spell and grammar check. I have a bit of a learning disability too, so the grammar and things like that are a little bit challenging. Chunking of exams, spacing of exam writing, and then I specifically have put in here the actual physical exam, how it should be formatted on the page. JAWS, anyone who's worked with JAWS knows how finicky it can be. So Times New Roman 12 font, no charts, no fancy boxes, no things beside each other or pictures or things like that to make the exam look more pretty. Let's keep it basic. I don't know how many times I've gone in to write an exam and you can't read it because they've decided to put boxes around it or shade it or make it look nice for sighted people. Classroom accommodations. I have a note in here for appointments that I do miss class for appointments. Not so true anymore. It was originally, but not so true. Preferential seating at the front of the classroom. This is a big one. I always sit in the very front row. Professors always know who's taking their class seriously and who's not taking their class seriously. That's how, when you talk to a professor, that's what they say. If you're sitting in the first few rows, they assume that you're there to take the class seriously. If you're sitting in the back of the room, you're just kind of there. You may be on Facebook, whatever, right? Whether that's right or wrong, but that's a professor's perception. And so I always sit in the front of the room. The other reason is that Thompson is a good, or your cane, is a good indicator that there's something that needs to be accommodated. So when the professor is showing a video in class, a little short YouTube clip or something like that, they look over and they see you sitting there and they go, oh yeah, that's right. I have to describe what we just saw. And so it's a good visual reminder for them that they need to put those accommodations in place that you've already talked about. For some students, the front of the class may be too overwhelming or something like that, but I have found my most success in the front of the classroom. Most universities have a volunteer note-taking service, and most students have access to it. Students who are registered have access to it. It's hit or miss. It's volunteer, so depending on the school, you may or may not get students who are willing to share their notes. I personally find that that's one of the most helpful things. I have a professional note-taker that sits with me in class that funding has paid for. And so there's different bursaries and grants available through the university that you can apply to. And so I have a professional note taker that sits somewhere in the class. I have no idea who they are or even where they are. They just come in, they sit in the class, they take notes, and then they send them to me electronically. And so I never have to interact with them. I never have to disclose anything. It's a very just secretive relationship. Next slide.
CNIB. Seeing Beyond Vision Loss. This video has been made possible thanks to an educational grant from Novartis Pharmaceuticals Canada Incorporated.